So let's return to part 2 of my chat with Waterford hurling manager Liam Cahill. And I asked him, when did he watch back the All-Ireland final loss to Limerick?
Yeah, on the Tuesday after the All-Ireland, I sat down and watched it again. And, it was as All-Irelands go, it was eerie enough after it. Like, there was nothing going on, no big crowds, obviously. And, no real, bar the support of your own family at home. There was nobody really else around. So they gave you a good opportunity to reflect maybe quicker than other years. So so when we look back on it, there wasn't anything jumped out at me that didn't I suppose register with me on the day after the final whistle. So but again, lots of areas that we were found wanting in, and lots of areas that we need to address. And ultimately, when you fail in a Waterford jersey or any intercounty jersey, you just have to go back and look at it and see how you can mend it. And that's been our goal since getting beaten in the All-Ireland. Thankfully, I've had the opportunity to sit down with these players one-to-one before these restrictions have come in. They were just before Christmas. So look, I think everybody that's with me at the moment is fully aligned on what we have to do to make sure that we try and progress and keep trying to get back into finals and keep dining at the top table, as I've said.
Yeah, what was the message to the players, Liam, in general, when you did manage to sit them down before Christmas after that All-Ireland final?
Yeah, well, the message, Tomas, was really that, when you get to these occasions, you can't let them I suppose, I won't say intimidate you, but like, we definitely didn't apply ourselves the way we said we would leading up to the All-Ireland. I know we had, some very, very good performances leading up to the All-Ireland, particularly the quarter-final and semi-final. And, that was really encouraging to see the way the players reacted after the Munster final against Clare, and, to come to Croke Park then and really, take the bit between their teeth in the second half and get the result. But not telling tales out of school, Tomas, we trained really poorly on the Sunday before the All-Ireland. Not physically, we had a match among ourselves, and it was really worrying. And to be honest, there was probably alarm bells for me even that players had just, I don't know whether they were minding themselves or what. We just didn't seem to be keeping our momentum going. And I think we went away from playing as a team on the day in Croke Park. I think there was a couple of opportunities there where we had men in better positions and we didn't give the ball. And when we were chasing a game, we needed them passes to go to hand to the man in the better position to keep us in the match. And we blew a couple of goal chances before half time. We still only went in 3 points down, and we talked about what we were going to do at half time, and we came out and we totally let Limerick totally take us over for the first 15 minutes of the second half, and we were well beaten docket after that. So that it's hurting. It's fairly annoying. You'll be fairly angry after it from a management perspective, but I think we need to just collectively now get our heads around it and work together to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, what did you see, Liam, in that trial game the week before the final that worried you most?
I just felt that, I think it was a week out from the All-Ireland, maybe to something from a management perspective, we probably should have tapered it back maybe a little bit as well, Tomas. I have to look at it as much as the players. I just felt that how would you say, our extended panel seemed to be a little bit more focused than the fellas that had possession of the jersey. And I suppose if I was to do my job right that day, there'd have been 7 or 8 changes for the All-Ireland final if I was to go on that training session alone. So unfortunately, a week out from an All-Ireland, if you arrived with a team with 8 different changes from a semi-final where you had turned over Kilkenny, definitely the manager's head would be on the block. But the vibes from the players on that particular Sunday and the match among ourselves wasn't where it needed to be 7 days out from an All-Ireland final. And whether that's a mindset thing, whether it was fellas minding themselves, whether it was I don't know. It's something that for me as a manager I have to get behind and figure out if we arrive in that situation again that it can't happen.
You mentioned afterwards, Liam, that Limerick brought much more aggression to that game than he did in the Munster final, and you could see that within the first couple of seconds, that first ruck ball. I think, Jamie Byrne ran into a brick wall and Seamus Flanagan and Tom Morrissey got a point from the sideline. How important are those collisions now in modern hurling?
Yeah, they're there, Tomas. Every team now is, physically conditioned to this, and it's really is, there's massive athleticism involved now in the current modern day game. But again, you can only play what's put in front of you, and like on the day, in fairness, Limerick really started the match well, and I suppose a lot of their scores as well. Some of them over the shoulder, out under the stands, drop over the bar, and when you're in the zone, then things happen, and when you're linking up well as a team, them opportunities tend to go over. So I think early exchanges in any big game, you need to be winning them, and we didn't win enough of the early exchanges, both physically and around our execution, to give ourselves that real opportunity of being able to chance going down the home straight. So, but look, it's done with now. Overall, Tomas, in general, it was a good progressive year, and the key now is can players learn from what has happened, especially in the All Ireland and the Munster final. That's the key now. We know these players have the ability, they have the desire, they have the honesty, but now we have to see have they the mentality to correct their mistakes and see have they the real awareness and brain to come that little bit further to take them over the line.
I want to ask you about one of the highlights of the year, Liam, that All Ireland semi-final against Kilkenny. I'm just going to play a little clip here and I might just get your reaction to it.
There's 8 minutes left, 2:18 to 2:23, 24, 29. 5 points between the sides. Ball the other side of there. Liam Cahill punches the air. That's what he wanted from his men. He wanted aggression, and Conor Gleeson gave it to him. Does it for the Ireland football, does it for 4 Mile Water. He's doing it for Waterford tonight. He better have been disappointed not starting. His mum Mary normally sings to the Valley of the Nire. Will she be singing out in the Valley of the Nire tonight?
Liam, I think Waterford supporters can picture yourself and Mikey Beavens on the sideline after Conor Gleeson pushed the Kilkenny man out. Why did you enjoy that passage of play so much?
Yeah, and I think, I think that's what, that's what we expect from our players, Tomas, and I think, that's our identity. We'd like to think it's our identity anyway, that we're prepared to chase everything, work hard, and have that little bit of skill and hurling in between to make us a really decent team. And stuff we worked on in the training ground and the training we've done leading up to the start of the championship all came out there in various aspects of our play, especially against Kilkenny. And it's really encouraging and really you can be really proud from a manager's perspective when you see your team playing to that kind of instruction or that kind of desire, and I think that's what supporters want to see as well when they look in from the television or the stands, that they see a team that have a real hard trust of hard work about them and a real identity about what they represent. So, but it's great. It's great that it was great on that particular day that going down to home straight, you were putting it up to one of the best teams in the country, and that's where you need to be, and you need to be there more consistently than we are, and that's our goal now, hopefully for 2021, to get back into that kind of position again, and the more we get back into them positions, the more we learn, and the more hopefully we'll get closer to silverware.
Yeah, how significant was that win, Liam, for the team, and I suppose also for yourself as a manager to get one over Brian Cody? I know a manager that you greatly admire. Yeah,
Brian Cody for me is the respect I'd have for that man from looking in from the sidelines down the years. Like, he's just an incredible man, and and I suppose Kilkenny, as a hurling county, they set the bar, and it's great anytime most teams go and win an All Ireland, they usually beat Kilkenny, or they have to beat Kilkenny along the way. So it's always a big game, but I think for us it was a case of just giving us that little bit of extra belief as well, that we are capable of taking on whatever comes at us. And I always say to see these players. I've said it from day one, Tomas, since I arrived in Waterford, that, you know, every day I walk the sideline with these fellas, I believe I have a chance, and that hasn't changed. You know, I might be a little bit annoyed after the All-Ireland in certain aspects of our play and maybe our preparations leading into it. Not necessarily our preparations, but our mindset leading into it and stuff like that. And I'll hold my hand up that it's a collective job, and it's my job and the players' job to arrive ready to play. And I'm not, you know, hurling any blame at anyone's feet. It's, you know, we go down, we all go down together. But reality of it is, like, you know, things have to change again now for 2021. We have to put ourselves back in them positions, and it's a real test now of both myself and the players to see can we find an extra couple of lengths to get silverware, because ultimately my reign here in Waterford is about winning silverware. I don't know anything else, only to aim for that and try and achieve it. And, you know, if my reign ends here without silverware, well, then it'll be a failure. So that's where I'm coming from, and I need my players to reflect that as well when they play.
And you will have Tom Feeney walking the line with you this year, Liam, as selector. What do you hope that he will bring to the setup? Yeah, well, I think Tom Feeney, and I believe Tom Feeney is a perfect fit again for our setup. You know, he takes over there from the position from Stephen Malumphey, as we know, is work tight, so and can't commit for 2021. So look, Tom was an easy choice for me, to be fair. Like, as a player, he epitomised everything there that we've spoken about, Tomas, that passion and desire to play for Waterford, and you know, he was a player no too indifferent to Stephen Frampton. They just did their hurling on their field. They weren't about fist pumping or saluting the crowd, or they weren't about media headlines after or rushing for articles to the paper. They did their hurling on the field, and you know, when they came off the field and retired, they put their work into their clubs at underage, and they epitomise everything that's right about a proper GA person, you know. So Tom Feeney for me brings that kind of a presence, and I think he's a real, you know, straight up to the point individual that will have a real good knowledge of what's out there in Waterford hurling, and you know, it doesn't take fools likely either, and I'm really looking forward to working with him, and you know, people will say as well, like, let's call a spade a spade. He was part of the selection committee with Stephen Frampton that time when I did sit down to discuss the Waterford senior hurling manager's job day one, and they asked all the right questions as far as I was concerned, and you know, for me it was easy to go approach Tom to fill the gap, because he knows exactly what's required and what he wants, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. Well, Liam Cahill, Waterford hurling manager, thanks so much for your honesty as always, and all the best for the year ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tomas.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.